Zoom, zoom, zoom.
All right, welcome folks to another Zoom Up edition. It's our meetup on Zoom. Excited to have you. These are stories of transformation from our community of real estate investors and business owners taking control of their life and then sharing how they did it. My name is Michael Huggins, coming to you live from Tennessee. I got my co-host today, Scott Rowe. What's up?
Chicago, western suburbs. What's happening, man? Good to see you.
Yeah. Dude, can you believe we're in the 90s for our episodes now? We have
I
such a library.
You know what? The first 70 flew, right?
Yes.
And the last 20 are like and that's I mean the last now we're in the last tens and we're like, ooh.
We're gonna get there. We have an amazing library, folks. These stories of transformation are there to inspire you to get off the couch, face your fears, chase your dreams, and start living a life by design instead of settling for a life by default, which we were all trained, educated, and taught to do. So let's get out there. Let's take some transformation. And just as we're talking about real estate, everyone, please be aware it is risky. You need to dot the I's, cross the T's, surround yourself with professionals so that you don't lose any money because real estate does have some inherent risk. But on the upside, the potential is enormous when you know what you're doing and you.
Oops.
Someone muted me.
I went to let somebody in and somebody had let him in. Sorry.
All good.
I'll finish up with you.
Please
hey,
take
listen,
over.
You're going to be very inspired by today's story. I know her very well. She's awesome. And when you're like, you know what? I want to be like Mel. So if you want to be like Mel, get back in touch with the person who invited you so that you can either get to an intro, a property tour, or a workshop. I think subliminally I wanted to shut you down so I could say that.
Yeah, I guess so. My turn. All right, fine. Have a turn.
All right, so a property tour, an intro, or a workshop is where you want to get to figure out, if this group's going to be for you or not.
I remember coming to my first workshop. It was 10 years ago. I was still working at Jiffy Lube. I was making $9.50 an hour, but the people walked me through their deal, and I could see how a rehab worked. I could see how I could make more money. And within 9 months, I was able to make enough money to quit my job. My first deal made $21,000. So I'll get to a property tour, get to an intro, get to a workshop. We got one coming up this Saturday too. So excited transformation. Let's make it happen, Captain. Well, let's talk about our guest. Scott, where did you meet our guest first?
Well, according to her, I met her in Seattle. I thought it was Arizona, but
nice.
I'm going to go with her. She's probably got a better brain than me. So I do know this, though. I'll tell you this. For a fact, we both agreed that it was a pizza place after the meeting. So
nice.
So, right. We did this meeting, and she'd been working with us online because we did online stuff. And finally, the group after the meeting goes and hangs out and networks. And that's where I met Mellanie. And then she moved here. She actually lived in Chicago for a little bit. She's very familiar with the building behind me and helped us a ton while she was here. And then we lost her to Arizona because, weather here stinks.
Well, not quite. On her way down, she stopped in Denver and she lived there and joined our community for about a year.
See?
I
wonder if it was me.
Yeah.
The weather there stunk too.
we had a rooftop party. That was awesome. The fire department almost got called because we brought a barbecue up to the roof on top of our office building unannounced. It was a ton of fun. But yeah, been an amazing part of our community. She's helped a ton of people. She's inspired a lot of people to get off their couch and do something. She's also paved the way when it comes to being a responsible investor, and the results that she's getting are amazing. And with what she's doing with her and her partner, it's inspiring for everybody. You can work a job, you can live your life, you can make money, travel the country, do what you want. And so what we'd like to do now is kind of hear about her origin story. Where did she come from? Why was she even looking for a change? And what's happened since? So I'm going to turn it over to our guest of honor today, Ms. Mellanie Joy.
Mellanie Joy.
Woo! Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah,
well, I was in financial services industry. I was working for corporate America. I was making a lot of money. It was easy money, and I hated my life. I didn't like showing up every day, answering to somebody else. So I actually was looking on Craigslist because that's where you used to look when Facebook and social media wasn't the spot that it is now. And I saw an ad to learn real estate investing.
Had you ever done real estate investing? You'd never done that before, though.
I had owned my own house that was not finished and had to do that part and then sell it. And then I had owned a commercial property that I was working, that I had renovated. And so I had done it a little bit, but not on the scale that I have now.
Okay. And so what about, I mean, most people say, hey, making a lot of money and easy money at that. What was the big deal? Why would you give that up and try to go work and do something new?
I was really unhappy and I just couldn't figure out how I could be so unhappy. I liked the people I worked with. The job wasn't terrible, but it just wasn't a fit for me. I just knew it wasn't my calling. It wasn't a match. And so each day I would get up and just dread waking up, dread going to work. My business partner and I sometimes had an amazing time, sometimes didn't like each other for the most part. And so I didn't want to deal with anybody else. I wanted it to be on my terms. And I didn't really know how to do that. I was scared. I had never done that before.
All right. So you saw the ad and you saw a webinar. Is that what you saw first? Because you were in that small town?
I did. Yep.
And that's important because there's gonna be a lot of people that see webinars, especially now that we've come out of COVID and the Zoomup things become very prevalent. We just had a conversation. Our group is really doing a lot online right now. And you don't even have to worry about that because since 2011, we've been doing meetings all over the country. In fact, I just did a Zoomup with a person in Hawaii who wants to get started. So
nice.
All right. So you saw the webinar and what were your thoughts? Saw it?
I saw the webinar. I really enjoyed what I was seeing, but when I got off the screen, I thought all the skepticism came in. Is this real? Have they put these people in the room to make me think they're real? Are people really getting together? Are they doing the things they said? Are people making money?
I'm glad
I went to the next.
I'm glad you nobody's ever said that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that see stuff and they feel exactly like you did. They shut down the laptop and they're like, am I the only person that liked that?
Okay.
And just wondering if I could do it myself. I was alone. We talk a lot about community and I did end up moving around the country to be with the community because I wanted that so bad and it wasn't in my area. Mm-hmm. But I was able to join the study groups and do all of that online, which was perfect.
Nice.
All right. So tell us about your first deal since getting educated and joining the group.
Ooh, my first deal. I don't even know if I remember my
there you
first
go. That's
deal.
what I like to hear. Right? Like we're so long in the business. All right. Tell us about your favorite one.
There you go.
My favorite are my rentals that I have here in Arizona. I bought 4 within a few months of moving to Arizona all at once. That I had previously only bought 2 and 1 at a time. So buying 4 was really scary to me. They happened to be full of squatters, people that were not, they were just scary to me, people, drugs, guns. And so.
But you bought them anyway.
It took me out of my comfort zone. I think that was really fun and exciting for me. It taught me that I could do a lot more than I thought I could.
Now, before I want to qualify. I want to qualify something if I can. And we can tell we're getting to almost 100 because, all right, ready for this? So, and I think there's a good point here to be made. And so why did you buy properties that had squatters in them? What about the properties that have squatters in them are attractive?
I think that whoever owns them is so much more afraid of them. So you get such a better price. Ding. And really
that's exactly what I wanted to hear, right? If there's 2 things I love when I visit a property, it's squatters and cat urine. I love it.
It's the discounts we want.
It's the discounts, baby.
Yes.
Right on. Okay. And so now that you got 4, are they cash flowing? Have you paid them off? Tell us about that.
Sure. I paid about $43,000 for each of them. They're 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom units. I put on average $10,000 into each of them. They mostly needed new air conditioning units, and that was the biggest expense there. So even with squatters, $10,000 I don't think is much money for a renovation. The ceilings were falling out. There were holes all over, graffiti. It was bad.
Wow.
And you turned them around for 10 G's each.
I did, yeah. And 3,500 of that I put on had to use for air conditioning units in each of those.
Wow.
Okay. So you dropped about 200 grand on 4 rentals is what I'm hearing.
Correct.
And what's the monthly cash flow on that?
those right now. So one of the scary parts when I moved into that neighborhood is it is a low income neighborhood and rents were only about $650 per unit for those units. But I did my research. I already had 2 Section 8 units in Chicago area. And I knew that that rent was going to be more suitable for this area. And the rent for Section 8 that they would pay for a 3-bedroom is $1,250 a month.
Wow.
So I doubled the rents in that area for everybody else, all the other landlords who were there, and
Nice.
raised that. The after repair value of those units are actually selling for over $110,000 right now. Mine appraised right there, and some have sold for more in the last few months.
You almost doubled your money right now in all the equity. That's great.
Yeah, I have doubled my money in equity for sure. I have 6 now in that same complex, and I got myself on the HOA board so that I could help clean up the neighborhood and be a part of what goes on there.
And everybody in the area is happy that Melanie's on the HOA board. After raising the rent, you're like, that girl should be running stuff.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Okay. So tell us, so we talked about some of the successes. What was one of the hardest things that you went through from transitioning from your career to this being a business owner and a CEO?
It's hard waking up each morning and not knowing where your next paycheck's going to come from. You've got to be able to change with the market too. And I think that can sometimes be difficult. Like I was doing foreclosures for the last 4 years and they're all on hold right now. So it's been over a year that I haven't had that market and have had to again change. And I think that just relying only on yourself, you really want to be your own boss, but then when it comes down to it, it's scary.
Yeah.
Hey, how fast, you might not remember the first deal, but how fast between taking your first class, maybe being part of that first study group, how fast were you in the first deal? Do you remember that?
I did some private money lending probably within 4 to 6 months.
There you go.
Of that. So that was my first deal. I do remember my first purchases of rentals were 2 years. It took me a long time to decide what my investor ID was and which I thought I wanted to do fix and flips. Turns out I don't. So it took me a while to learn that I love rentals.
Had you done a fix and flip and said, yep, this ain't for me? Or did you, as you were learning it, we're like, yeah, what I'm learning doesn't fit my goal?
As I was learning, I realized pretty quickly it didn't fit my goal.
Okay. Another fantastic reason to get educated. So if you're in an education system like we are, where you have an actual fix and flipper telling you all the ins and out, how to dot the I's and cross the T's, you may realize inside the education itself without having invested in money in a real estate deal. Does that make sense? So the worst way to learn that you don't like something is to be a part of it and go, this sucks, right? The best way to learn that you don't like something is learn from somebody else about their experience. You're like, well, that sucks. I'm not going to do it.
I learned because I wanted time freedom, and I don't think a fix and flip is freedom. I couldn't travel like I wanted to, and I was learning from others that were on the job site every day, day in and day out.
Okay, good points.
And why is travel so important to you?
That makes me feel free. I love learning other people's cultures. I love meeting new people. It's just, that's what breathes life into me, is the adventure of that.
All right, so you've traveled. I know you were here in Chicago for a while. I just found out you went to Denver for a while. Now you're in the AZ community. So somebody that's on the line here or watching this for the first time, they're like, you know what, you guys talk about community a lot, but I doubt that it's as good as you think. So give us an idea, since you've experienced multiple communities and even the online experience, because you started that way. What would you tell them about what's going on with this group?
It's like walking into a family reunion. Everybody is very welcoming. It's like you've known them forever and maybe you haven't talked for a little while. You all have stuff to talk about and catch up on. People are willing to help you and support you in ways you wouldn't even imagine. I just this morning have a lead that came in. I'm in Arizona. It came into my funnel. I was able to call somebody in Florida, and now they're going to help me disposition those properties. And I didn't know them. They were just a referral to me from the community.
That's great.
Nice.
But they took my call immediately, just were very welcoming and excited to help.
That's great.
That's the abundance mentality that you're going to find here if you keep working with us. People are not too worried about the scarcity because we understand there's so much out there. When you really get the eyes to see the opportunity, and that's one thing I found here is I didn't realize how much opportunity I was missing. So you're in that abundant state, you're able to help a lot more people.
Yep.
And that's a huge benefit to this community.
And organically, we attracted somebody named Joy. So obviously, you know, that was
Doing something right.
yeah, doing something right.
Okay, awesome. So now you're the CEO, you're in the captain's chair, you got some money lending out there, you got rental properties, you've been working the foreclosure list. Where do you see the next couple of years going?
I would love a few more rentals. Right now, I think I've been able to put $4,000 a month into a savings account for just about 12 months. This will be my 12th month. And I wanted to make sure I can live off $4,000 a month. And I wanted to make sure that I knew that that money I didn't need to touch for a whole year. And then I figured that maybe another 2 or 3 would create a little extra cushion just in case other things arose. But that's just a couple more rentals and I'm retired.
Nice. See you later.
Look at that smile.
You know what? Let me. Can I harken back? I'm gonna harken back. You just reminded me of something. So I used to make $212,000 a year, and I lost that job, right? And when you make $212,000 a year, and you got a parking spot, and you want to put a Jaguar, you leverage yourself, right? You get a loan on a Jag, right? And you get a loan on a condo, and a loan on a condo. You got to live it up, and then you lose it, and you realize when the faucet's off, it all dries up, right? And you got to start losing stuff. You know, the rest of the stuff you bought with what you had, you lost. Now, what you just said was exactly why I wanted it immediately. I met a art teacher, an ex art teacher at my meeting who had 22 rentals properties, and he had peace of mind. And I think that's what you're talking about. You know, I just want peace of mind. I want more money coming in than going out. That's taking care of the bills, and now all my wake ups are mine. All my decisions are mine. That's great.
That's that control. And it doesn't matter what your background is. And that's the interesting thing I like to point out, because there might be some people here that were in my boat watching, making 20, 30 grand a year going, wait a minute, you're making 6 figures and you're complaining. But it's that rat race, right? It's that trap. It's like, how the hell am I going to get out of that thing?
Exactly.
And so I'm really grateful for this community because we've helped a ton of people with that. All right. Well,
hey, I got a question. One last question. Hey, if you could thank anybody, like somebody might see this webinar, if you wanted to let them know, hey, I want to thank that, and it doesn't have to be Michael or me. I don't say. If you want to thank somebody in this group, in this community, who would it be?
Randy Pertler and Zach Ullman. When I was in the Chicago area, they helped me learn the Section 8 market. And then after I left, Randy helped me renovate some properties that I bought after I left, and then he property managed them. And then Zach actually moved to Arizona. He was doing Section 8 there, so he's been a good resource for me, always answering my calls, texts.
Awesome. Nice. Somebody tell Zach and Randy to watch this.
That's right.
All right, good job. See, we're just getting better, Michael. We're close to 100, and you just
right. Our summer break is just about to start, so
we'll have to invite everybody back in the fall, like school again, right? Do them all over again, asking these awesome questions. They're like, oh, you didn't ask me that last time.
What did you do during the summer?
What'd you do? What was your summer break?
Yeah, cool. Well, thank you so much, Mellanie, for being here and sharing your story, and and hopefully people getting inspired by that, because everybody's background, everyone's situation is different. But what I notice is when they come here, they find a very similar thing, and that is people who care. And so I appreciate you being one of those people who cares about the new folks as well.
All right. So now that you've seen this, everybody, we thank Mellanie for being here for sure. I can't wait to see you again in live person so I can hug you. But if you like what you've heard here, then get back in touch with the person who invited you here and ask them to get you onto a property tour where you can actually see a student's deals. We do them every week, so you can literally virtually watch one of the property tours of a student doing the deal, inside the deal. It's awesome. 2, get to an intro. This is exactly how I saw the first thing, and maybe Michael, you did too. I know that, but maybe Mel did too. I saw an introduction where they laid out the function of the group, and they said, okay, here's the plan and here's the structure behind it. I'm like, man, I like structure, so let's do this. And then, or maybe get to a workshop. Maybe you want to test drive some of the content that our group provides on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, and meet some of the folks that have made differences in our lives. at an 8-hour event that we have monthly. So these are 3 things you should maybe get to.
Yeah, now they are by invite only, folks. They're not open to the public, so you do need to get with the person that got you here so that you can get that private Zoom link and get registered, and then we can give you all the value, and hopefully you start getting the benefits that we're currently getting from the program. That's what this is all about. So,
all right, Mel, get the last word. Come on. Somebody with the last name Joy should say the last thing.
Geez, now I'm on the spot. I just want to let anyone out there know that in like the community and getting to know it, the real estate, if they ever need any help, I'm always available.
Nice.
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 Sharing is caring.
Sharing's caring. See you guys later.
Okay, bye everyone.